I am Jonny Reps here on my balcony in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and today I'm going to make a video about the thing that everybody wants to hear about. That's right, the Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud. Just kidding. Actually, what I'm talking about is these Quest protein chips. If these things are really healthy, are they really a better alternative for chips? Or are they really just unnatural crap that you just shouldn't waste your time on? So these are Quest tortilla style protein chips. It comes in a variety of different flavors. They have about 140 calories and about 20-ish grams of protein. They're marketed as an alternative to highly processed, highly palatable, very high calorie snacks such as potato chips. I personally recommend these to many of my clients as an alternative to eating chips, or as a healthy snack that can help you hit your macronutrient and calorie targets more satiating and filling than regular chips. I also think they actually taste really good. It's surprising to me that they could pack as much protein in a chip like this and still make it taste good. Why we are really here today is not really about taste, it's about health. Let's examine the healthiness of these ingredients. How do we assess healthiness? Many people have an idea of health that somewhat hinges, unfortunately, on this thing called the naturalistic fallacy. The belief that if something is natural and not man-made, it is more healthy than something that is man-made. The man-made alternative would be less healthy. There's obviously many things that are natural, like poison ivy and dirt and like tree bark, that we probably don't want to eat and would be very bad for us if we ate them. Whereas there's many things that are processed to make them more healthy. Whey protein is processed to increase the protein content of milk and turn it into something that's even higher in protein. Milk itself is pasteurized and processed to kill disease-carrying pathogens. Just because something is or isn't man-made doesn't make it inherently more or less healthy. We want to start with that from a baseline. The first ingredient is protein blend, consisting of milk protein isolate and whey protein isolate. Milk protein isolate contains both whey and casein, which are the two types of protein within milk, whereas whey protein isolate is just the whey out of milk. These are both derivatives of milk. Nothing surprising here. Whey protein and casein protein are put in all sorts of different protein supplements. They are heavily studied supplements. They're extremely safe for human consumption. I'm just surprised that they could put it in a chip in this high of a quantity and still make it taste good. Also wanted to note that these ingredients are in order of the amount of them in the product. On all nutrition labels, the foods are ordered with the ingredient that has the largest quantity in the product first, and then the ingredient with the smallest quantity in the product last. That's just common practice when it comes to nutritional labeling. Ingredient number 2, vegetable oil. There's a lot of hubbub going around on the internet about seed oils. Avoiding that discussion entirely for now, we're going to just talk about vegetable oils. Simply put, vegetable oils are safe for human consumption, and to be honest, the quantity of vegetable oils in this product is likely fairly low. Despite being the second ingredient, the majority of the weight of this product comes from protein, 19 grams out of a 32-gram product. That means that over half of the mass of each chip is pure whey/milk protein, and there's only 5 grams of fat. The vegetable oil will be within that 5 grams of fat, so at most there might be 5 grams of vegetable oils in here, but I doubt it's even that much because there's obviously other fat sources in this product. We like to say, not we, but everyone who talks about nutrition in a sensible way likes to say the dose is in the poison. So we want to look at the recommended daily allowance of vegetable oils and see if this product has like an abnormally high amount of vegetable oils. There's not even 5 grams of vegetable oils in here, and the recommended daily amount of vegetable oils you should get is somewhere between 20 to 30 grams. So this obviously is a small percentage of that. We don't know the exact vegetable oil quantity, but it is for sure less than 5 grams. Next ingredient is calcium caseinate, which is actually a milk protein derived from casein. Very common food additive. Some of the data I found says that some people may have minor digestive or GI distress from this, but this is very individual. And the intake of this might actually be healthy for you. So nothing to see here. Again, doses in the poison. Cornstarch is a common food additive, very safe for human consumption. It is obviously derived from corn. It doesn't really pose any risk to you unless you are going to be inhaling it in powder form in large quantities. So Let's move on. Next up is psyllium seed husk. So psyllium is actually a form of fiber. It is used as supplemental fiber. It's actually one of the only forms of supplemental fiber shown to have health benefits. But again, it's in quite small quantities. The entire fiber amount contained in this serving, one serving of the chips, is only 1 gram. So we're talking like everything past this point for sure is 1 gram or less in the product, very small amounts. That's another quick aside. When you identify, okay, psyllium seed husk, that's a fiber, and then you see the fiber in the food is only 1 gram, through some deductive reasoning, you can kind of surmise that because the ingredients are listed from greatest quantity to least quantity, that everything listed after that now would have less than 1 gram in this food. Next ingredient, salt. Your sodium intake should be below a certain threshold. This is something that is, in terms of dose, is in the poison. The RDA of sodium is around 1,500 milligrams daily per person. This has 290 milligrams, which it says here is about 13%. Not sure if that math checks out. Maybe it does. We have to look at this in a scenario of apples to apples, right? These chips are likely being used to replace something like potato chips or Doritos in someone's diet. These chips have a lot of other positive things like the protein quantity mainly and the lower calories that regular potato chips do not. Next up, maltodextrin soluble corn fiber. This is a food additive, again, derived from corn. It's used in a variety of different types of processed foods, usually to thicken them up. This is another ingredient that they would probably use to make the chip like not be a floppy, wet piece of whatever. You got to do something to make it palatable. Next up, I'm just going to kind of put these all together. You have yeast, onion powder, tomato powder, spice. All of these items right there, they're all just like spices added for flavoring, common ingredients in all sorts of different types of cooking. I am not aware of, if someone else is aware of them, please correct me in the comments, but I'm not aware of any data to suggest that any of these spices have any sort of negative impact on health when consumed in reasonable quantities. If I'm wrong, someone drop a comment below. Next up, we have sunflower lectin, canola lectin, and or soy lectin. So different types of lectins are generally emulsifiers that help smooth out different types of foods. There has been some study recently into whether or not these emulsifiers negatively impact gut microbacteria. Lectins specifically have been shown to probably not impact gut microbacteria, last I checked, as much as other different types of emulsifiers used in foods, but they're a very common food additive. Another thing to note is the field of gut health is still a very young scientific field. There's many people on the internet who claim to know the secrets of gut health, but the actual science behind it is still developing. How important is long-term gut health? We know that that's probably pretty important, but short-term disruptions in gut health or the complex interactions of different foods and microbacteria in your stomach, it's quite a scene. People who usually will tell you things of just like, oh, you shouldn't eat anything like this because it's bad for your gut health. That type of reasoning is just, it's so simplistic that I would categorize it as definitely wrong. There's not really much more to say about that, to be honest. Next up, yeast extract, another obviously derivative of yeast. As far as I can find, no evidence of it having any negative health impacts when consumed in reasonable quantities. Going through this list, there are a lot of items on here. Some people may comment that, well, I have this specific problem with this specific additive or so on and so forth. I welcome those discussions. The point of this video is, unfortunately, I can't go extremely in depth on every single ingredient. If anybody's interested for me to make a new video going more in depth on a specific ingredient, I might do that if there's interest, but it's kind of going to have to be an overview just because there's, a layman's overview because of how many ingredients are in here. I'm just going to go through the rest of the ingredients because they're just basically common foods or spices. And also, they are so far down the ingredients list that we've already determined everything here is going to be well into the tiny milligrams in terms of quantity in here. Many of them are at such low quantities that they're probably insignificant when it comes to contributing to the overall nutrient profile of this specific food. Calcium carbonate, sour cream consisting of cream, skim milk, cultures, cheddar cheese powder, garlic powder, paprika, turmeric, all again common spices, oleo resin, which from what I can tell is a semi-solid extract composed of resin and essential or fatty oil, green bell pepper, paprika extract, gum arabic, chia seeds, and stevia extract, the last one being obviously an artificial sweetener. Contained in small quantities, they don't have an impact on this food. I think what I want to end this video on is, if there are any specific ingredients in here that are concerning to you, that would be something you definitely want to look into, consult your doctor with, or a professional on food science on what the actual impact of this specific ingredient in this specific quantity is. The idea of processed foods are bad, or this thing has so many ingredients that I don't know what they are, therefore bad, must be worse than something natural, whatever that might be. It's an extremely simplistic observation that does not show the truth. If there's specific issues with anything on here, I want to see it in the comments below. Be more empowered, be more nuanced, so on and so forth, all that good stuff. Follow Jonny Reps, that's me, on all of the social medias. Thank you for watching my video.